All right. Everyone's probably at lunch or they're they're at work or doing some other things. That's okay. But I figure I always find I'm a bit addicted, unfortunately. So I feel like I have to put some sort of extra content out. I did put a little something earlier today, but just to explain the title. Since I've been online so long, relatively speaking, and I've heard these terms like gish, gallop, and have eventually tried to understand it. And basically, I just wanted to make a little pun. I think that's a proper term. But basically, did you order some gish gallop with a side of context, sir? Oh yes. Well, thank you. Do you have some Grey Poupon? So that's basically the title. I know that most of y'all be like, I don't understand the title, but I'll go ahead and watch it. That's okay. That's okay. But we have a guy I haven't talked about in a little bit. For my newer followers, I don't care for this guy, Beau of the Fifth Column. And Beau of the Fifth Column claims to, or AKA Justin King, claims to be an anarchist. And yet gives some of the most bootlicking sort of, oh, well, the military did this. Oh, and he occasionally gives some, lip service to, the police occasionally here and there. But in general, I think he just, I think he's just a sheepdog that brings people back to the, oh, you didn't miss much. Didn't miss much at all. I'm just kind of getting started. But basically, we're going to talk about this guy, Beau of the Fifth Column, a.k.a. Justin King. I don't know if y'all know about him. We're going to go ahead and watch a video where he kind of gish gallops over stuff. And is very shallow, to say the least. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about good old Beau of the Fifth Column. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and do that. And big screen. And there we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and see this from the very beginning. Go ahead and go big screen here. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's do it.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So, today we're going to talk about the youth. Those TikTok teens.
Okay, so let's talk about TikTok teens and youth in politics. Okay. Now, does he talk about TikTok? No. Does he talk about, the youth in politics in any specific form? No. He makes vague generalities. And let's go ahead and tear this apart here.
Getting involved in politics and how that's a bad thing because they don't know enough. They're too young, too inexperienced, don't really know what's going on yet. They're just not educated enough.
Well, it's that, and also they can lead people down the wrong road. Look at people like Vosh. Vosh, can bring in something like, 12,000 people into a live stream on D Live, or almost 11,000, or it was about 11,000, roughly speaking. I want to try to be exact. 11,000 people he can bring in just on D Live. And that's scary because Vosh is putting folks down the wrong road. He really is. I mean, he's farming people into vote blue no matter who. As much as he tries to say, I'm really a leftist. No, you're not. No, you're not. And everyone's calling you out because you used out of context things. I know. If I had a contract, I would just put up and say, I have to talk about Vosh because I love to shit talk him. But goddamn. Okay, go ahead.
First, I would suggest that's not quite as strong a point as those people who say it think it is. But before we get into that, I want to point out some historical realities.
I would also say as well is that interesting that he says this the day after Nick Sandmann went on the he was in the RNC convention. And of course take it with a grain of salt, but the big thing is of course what is it? We won, Grandpa. I remember hearing that. And I'm just like, oh my, what do you do? Ah! It's like, we won, Grandpa. Just like saying that to Nathan Phillips. Oh, that was. I know that someone wrote that for him, but still, you know. Anywho, let's go ahead and continue.
Real quick. When the Declaration of Independence was signed, John Paul Jones was 28,
Mm-hmm.
the father of the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
Henry Knox was 25.
Yeah.
He went on to run all of our artillery. James Madison was 25. Betsy Ross was 24. Alexander Hamilton was 21. Nathan Hale was also 21. He was involved in Dalton's Rangers, which pretty much the forerunner to all American special operations. Aaron Burr was 20.
This is called gish galloping. This is, at least in my view, this is my definition of gish galloping, where it's just like, oh, I'm gonna show how big brain I am. I'm gonna give you a list of people that were in their 20s who were helping to start who were involved with the American Revolution. What does that have to do with today? What does that have to do with today at all? And he's not gonna say. He's just gonna say, well, they were young. Does he talk about the actual context of what these folks are putting out? No, they aren't. He's not going to do that. Go ahead.
Trumbull was 20 as well. He's the guy who did all the sketches of the British.
Still gish galloping. Still gish galloping.
The painter of the Revolution. That painting you've seen of the signing, that was Henry Lee III was 20. 2 years later, he was Major Lee of Lee's Legion. Pioneered
excuse me. Sorry. I was trying to be funny.
Monroe was 18. Lafayette was 18. He was a major general by 19, and just a few short years later, in 1781, at a place called
one sheep,
two troops bottled up Cornwallis
3 sheep,
and won the war.
4 sheep. Blah blah blah.
I'm gonna suggest that.
So almost half the video, he gish galloped, and it's like, oh, well, look at all these people that were in their 20s. Oh, look, so how dare you say that kids shouldn't be in politics, or these teens shouldn't be in politics? Yeah, the thing is, though, is what are they actually putting out? Guess what? None of these kids are probably going to be helping lead a military, this and that. They probably aren't going to be doing it, okay? Number one, which you're not going to mention, is they don't want to. They just want to do that so that they can try to be like, so they can try to be like Nick Fuentes or like Vosh. Ultimately, that's the dichotomy that I'm setting. Either like Nick Fuentes or Vosh. I only say that because Nick Fuentes, has been on TikTok to try to rediscover his youth, because ultimately he is kind of getting older. And Vosh, who has debated some TikTokers, this and that, and, is trying to also, hit that market instead of doing, these hour or 2 hour long videos, talking about various things. So if you want to call that a false dichotomy, go right ahead. But anyway, that's how I feel. Go ahead.
Young people have a very strong and illustrious tradition of being involved in American politics.
Yeah, and then they get old. And then they end up saying, yeah, screw the youth because I want to keep my power and keep my money. Yeah, I used to be young too. This is kind of like that movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Where it's just like, oh, old men don't understand because they forgot their youth. There's, things like that. It's just, this is the circle of life that works. It's like, yeah, you can be young and be in politics, but this is another thing I think from Rodney Dangerfield, where it's like, when you're in your 20s, you're young and vibrant and you think that you can change everything. But by the time you reach your 80s, you'd be like, yeah, I wish things could change, but you don't have the energy to do it. And that's a paraphrase, but still, this is Feihua. Go ahead. Let me look at the chat here.
I would also
this anarchist dude spews a bunch of words out. Yeah, you died at age 40. Old times, if I'm correct. 20 was probably the mid-age back then. Exactly.
That's not an indictment of young people today. That's an indictment of us.
That's an indictment of us.
We're the ones responsible for their education. I would suggest that it is a citizen's primary job to make sure that the next generation is properly educated. So I'm not sure that our failure
Oh, so once again, he automatically just says, "Oh, well, it's up to us to defend." Are you doing it? Do you think that your videos are just educating people? Or are you really just trying to, give some sort of mildly progressive type of things and say, "Oh, we're gonna win. Progressivism is gonna win," and then you still bootlick for the United States military? And he does. If you watch other videos, he will bootlick the military because he has worked in that system. Now, he's been a contractor for the United States military. He was never in the military. But yeah, go ahead.
Would be a mark against them. I would also suggest that perhaps it's better to get some more forward thinking ideas. Some ideas that
I guess there are no kids who are more right wing. I get, and once again, I'm not going to get into the debate of are Zoomers, the base Zoomers are, right wingers. I don't even give a shit about things like that. But it's just like, if you think that they give brilliant ideas, on politics, it's like, yeah, but it's shallow though. The difference is that these folks actually saw everyday life, whereas, even people of my generation, millennials and old and younger, those folks don't really deal with real life as much. And so they'll say, yeah, of course, Black Lives Matter and all this sort of thing. But do they see the realities of it? Do they work in a business? Do they, I know. Once again, this is me speaking as a 35-year-old. I'll be honest with you, but it's just so limiting, and it's just this is so shallow. Go ahead.
are coming from people who don't think everything's impossible, who don't look to the past and see that as the future, who aren't stuck in denying that the world is going to move forward. Maybe
Why is he out arching his eyebrows and stuff like that? See, the thing is, once again, he's very good. I mean, I've said this before in his videos. The thing is that he knows how to play his various as a marketer. And now that I remember those words, but he knows his target audiences, and he knows that there are certain, he wants to keep part, demographics of his audience happy. With this is keeping the progressive folks happy to a point and saying, oh yeah, well, of course, progressiveness, is natural in kids. It's not, I don't think it's one way or the other. I think that it's fluid, just like anything else. Dare I, it sounds like my version, not, I'll keep it there. But it's just so ridiculous. It's fluid for these ideas to be like, these kids are fluid. These kids are, these kids are progressive nowadays. That can change very easily. And that can happen on an individual basis. Of course, he's speaking. Yeah, go ahead. Basically, what I'm saying, though, is he knows how to play various parts of his audience, where he'll try to keep the shit-lib boomer audience happy. The wine aunt drinking, the wine aunt audience. And then he'll try to keep his anarchist and leftist audience happy, too, by, bringing in folks like Mexi as well. He recently did a video. I didn't bother to watch it because I was like, I don't care. Go ahead.
those are the voices we need to listen to the most. It worked out pretty well for us in the past.
Really?
Um,
It's funny that you said Alexander Hamilton. What happened to him? And you mentioned Aaron Burr. What happened to those folks? What happened to them? I think that there was a duel that happened. Because it's ultimately like that was the traditions that they were dealing with at the time. Oh my God, it's just so ridiculous. And I know that I've heard this from a few different lefty channels, because it seems like I hear this stuff. It's like, are y'all repeating the same thing? Do y'all have the same script? But it's like they've shifted to Alexander Hamilton was the good one. I'm just like, why? Because he wanted a central bank, and because he was mildly, maybe socialistic, kind of. I don't get that. Go ahead.
I would imagine that there's a whole lot of really good ideas floating around out there right now that are being ignored.
Let me take a look at the chat right quick. Okay, yeah, you died for it. What the fuck is he even saying? He's just word salading. He really is. Yeah. It is Bo of the Fifth Column, aka Justin King. Hold on. Yes? What? All right. We'll try to keep it a little bit lower here. Yeah, an anarchy. Yeah. A dumbass. Yeah. All of the above. Okay. Yeah. Hamilton was bass bro. Yeah. Let's see. Look, here's the dichotomy, isn't it? Hamilton was more of a fascist. Hamilton was bass bro. Okay. Bro, the slaves were the real founding fathers. There you go. Okay. Like I say, y'all can go ahead and have your opinions, but this is you can feel as you want to about Hamilton. I'm not going to sit here and say one thing or another about him, but the thing is that in general, he was who he was. And of course, now we're gonna make a musical about him, and we're gonna squeeze every last bit we can out of it, but take him as he is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like in general, I think that he shit talked some things, and I think that he was in the Caribbean, right? Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna let's go ahead and finish this Fei Hua up. This is gonna be it. This is just a brief video. Okay, here we go.
Simply because the person who came up with them was the age of Alexander Hamilton, or Aaron Burr, or James Monroe.
Why do you keep... Once again, they were in a duel. God, what does that have to... okay, go ahead.
Lafayette. To suggest that...
This is just him showing off, isn't it? This is just him like, well, I've studied a lot about the Revolution. I've studied about all these folks, so I'm going to show how much I know. It has nothing to do with anything. You're not talking about TikTok, the platform. You're not talking about the actual content that is on TikTok that is political, quote unquote. Whether it's, these conservative folks, I can't think of their names offhand because I don't care once again. You don't want to talk about any of that, or the aspect where people have been doxxed because, some of these kids said the N-word in a video, or they wrote it on a piece of paper. And because of that, we're going to get them kicked out of college and everything else. Now, take that for what it is. I'm just saying, once again, there's some more context there. Maybe I'm muddying the waters, but I don't care. Go ahead.
Age is the only thing that can qualify somebody, or even a qualification.
Oh, boy. What is this? Age is nothing but a number? It's not just age. It's the fact of what are they saying? Is it deep stuff, or is it just stuff that they heard from BreadTube or from, people like Charlie Kirk? That's really what it comes down to. Where do they get this information from, and what do they do? What do they put out? Do they put out boring ass videos like well, howdy there, internet people? And yet somehow he gets 14,000 people. And like I say, most of them are boomers. A lot, some of them are Europeans, this and that, Europores or whatever. It's just so ridiculous. I go ahead. God damn. And take a look at the chat right quick.
To understand politics, to have an opinion on it worth listening to.
One versus one duels, but with ICBMs. Yeah. Make duels great again. There you go.
More important,
why not?
I would point
Hamilton was against slavery. Sadly, he didn't have the power to enact what he wanted.
Longer.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Okay. So, yeah. Just what type of nonsense? And that has 14,000 views. That has 14,000 views. Or almost 15,000. That right there. Now, I mean, look, some of that is cope. But it's also just thinking, okay, let's take a look at these comments. I'm going to be like Vosh. I know he always looks through the comments just to dab on the people. We have a lot of adults that don't know enough yet either, but there they are. Why is education a prerequisite for political participation only in the young? Well, once again, even I have to say, studying a little bit about Marxist-Leninism and even Maoism, it's like no investigation, no complaining, It's like you have to have some sort of education somewhere. You have to have a theory behind it. I was in class today, even my teacher, and he was talking more specifically about more capitalist ideas, but he was saying, you got to know it. You got to have a theory behind it. So ultimately, there's an attitude of read theory. There's reason behind that, whether it's State and Revolution, whether it's reading, you know, Das Kapital, all 3 volumes, or State and Revolution, or What is to be Done, or Dialectical Materialism. You learn all these things. You can take, I mean, I'm not going to, but you have to be educated somewhat, not just, oh, well, it feels right. No, you shouldn't just do that because it feels right. This is the same, that's a mistake. It's like, oh, well, we were going to vote for AOC because she's a socialist. No, she isn't. She's already supported a bill that, to provide, funding for the military because they don't want another shutdown. So this is absolute nonsense. The ascension of Donald Trump has proven that not knowing enough was no bar to power in the United States. Okay. You can go ahead and feel that way, and I'll just say fair enough. That's all I can say to that. I've heard those talking points somewhere. Oh, it was in literally every election where a young person was a possible threat to the established politician. Are you going to say AOC? Is that what that is? Is that okay? Today's youth isn't relying on schools to teach them. The internet has opened up a whole... Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I know it did for this 50-plus-year-old. Oh, boy. I'm guessing those same people forget that there was a children's march during the civil rights movement. Yeah, and there's a Hitler Youth, too. What is that? Just don't... Yeah, the ones whining are the real ignorant ones. No. Once again, the thing is that politics can be fluid. Is that you can start off as someone who's real progressive. Look at someone like Felix Dzerzhinsky. Let me put it this way. Games are degeneracy, to be honest. Oh, okay. What are we talking about right now? Basically, we're just talking about this guy. What was it? Beau the Fifth Column. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But basically, he was just saying that you shouldn't knock kids just for being kids. Talking about politics. Did he talk about what was shown in those TikTok videos? No. Was he talking about how shallow and everything? No. He didn't mention a word about that. What he mentioned was he was talking about, he was just gish yapping, saying, "Oh, what about this person? What about that person?" It's like, you got whataboutism and you're just gish galloping. Give me these list of names so that you can inundate us. It's like, no, I don't give a shit. Just because Aaron Burr was 21, it's like, I don't give a shit. Just because he was 21. It's like, how many old folks were out there fighting versus them? I think that's just ridiculous. Like I say, you do have to have some sort of political education. You do. You have to have some sort of political education. Doesn't matter whether, proletarian dictatorships should ban video games. Oh, okay. Yeah, inshallah. Can we just put all the anarchists on an island and forget about them, please? Yeah, have you seen the COD teaser with Yuri Bezimov? Oh, yeah. I've heard about that. I think that's ridiculous. It implies some fascism is the only centralized system of government. But yeah. I mean, I say the same thing. Yeah, more of a... Okay. I'll let y'all go ahead and talk about that. Okay. But yeah, this was just a quickie. I just want to put this in right quick. But it's just so silly to me. When I see this sort of thing. Yeah, it sounds a lot like the Let Children Vote video. Yeah, it does. It really does. It's just, as long as they vote for what we want, where it's like children are going to be progressive. It's like children could vote for killing all white people. I mean, you don't know. I don't get this whole thing. It's like, yeah, I will agree that children are the future, but you have to teach them in some way. And I know, but they don't get taught now. It's like, what, are they going to listen to dipshits like you? I don't get it. I really don't. I think it's fake wild when I hear shit like this, I think I've said my piece. Like I say, it's just so ridiculous at this point. I really don't. I can't deal with that type of thing. Like I say, it's just absolute fake wild. Absolutely. Okay. Let me just take a look at the chat here. National anarchists are more brainlet of all anarchists. Regular anarchism is impossible. How are you supposed to, with no black people? Blesses. Yeah. Yuri didn't predict anything. Yeah, Yuri Bezimov said kind of very, open-ended type of things. He wasn't really that much of it. You know, I've seen little bits of it. I'm like, oh, okay. He was it's kind of boring, really. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it. You're a Russian that speaks really good English, and you can, you know, you're in the KGB. It's like, okay, there are other folks that did that too. You know, I can't think of the guy, but he's always on those videos. But yeah, I, I don't get it. You know, like I say, it's just ridiculous. You know, I can't. I don't know, man. I don't really get it, to be honest with you. Honestly, I'm just keeping this going just so y'all can go ahead and chat between yourselves. It's like I say, I mean, I'm at the point where it's like, it's all good. Y'all can go ahead and talk amongst yourselves and, you know, get some better ideas and everything else, you know. I think that's a pretty good thing. Oh, boy, that's about it, though, really. Let me see here. What else is... Loner box. Oh, who is hurting freedom of speech? Okay, you want to do a twofer? Let's see how long this video is. Hold on. Let me see how long this video is. 14:50? Okay. We're not going to watch every minute, but we'll watch a little bit of it. How about that? Yeah. Let children join the... Yeah. I saw a Jay Dyer video where he questioned the legitimacy of... Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen Jay Dyer. It's like, I remember the people were mad at him because, you know, because he has a thought for a wife, right? And all that shit. I mean, I don't really know. Yeah. You can play cards, though? Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. All video games? Okay. Well, other than me, I mean, the only game I play is Close Combat 3 of the Russian Front. That's the only one I play at this point. I don't really care about the rest. And I do Cryptoquote. That's about it. I mean, in terms of entertainment, other than Kung Fu movies and stuff. But yeah. You know, I'm pretty simple. Banjo-Kazooie. Never heard of that game. Dyer's a Russian author. Yeah. I know that, yeah. I mean, Jay Dyer, like I say, in terms of YouTube, he's kind of fallen off. To me, he's kind of boring. It's like, oh, let's do another video about the Illuminati, or, you know, discussing how bad Hollywood is. Yeah. Yeah, getting owned by Fuentes. Yeah, like I say, it's just it's just ridiculous. All right, let's go ahead and watch one other video here just to keep it going. Like I say, I don't have the next class until 3:00, and I probably should do some other things. But I'm waiting for my youth movements. A really good idea, to be honest. Like the Hitler Youth, but less Nazi. There were plenty of them. Like I say, what I was reading about, just looking at your comment, Union Army Ball, it's like plenty of youth movements in Germany that existed, including, you know, even, of course, Karl Otto Peitel was part of a youth movement. So a lot of interesting stuff. Hortler, yeah, but more not. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. We'll go ahead and watch another video here. Who is hurting freedom of speech? This is a British dude. He's kind of recently come out. He was really bigged up by Vosh. I think he really boosted his numbers. What are we up to? 26. Holy shit, this guy's already at 26,000. I don't know why. I shouldn't really care about numbers. I really shouldn't. Because that's kind of cope. It really is. And we should just be Chad and just be like, you know what? Screw it. Who cares about what their size is, right? You know, it's about the motion of the ocean. Isn't that right? Okay. Let's hear this. Okay, skip past this bullshit. Okay, what are we talking about? There we go.
Me putting a bunch of stuff from
Liar box. Oh, we're so funny.
Count Dankula responded to my video. Amazing. I guess I need to make a response to his response now. He seems kind of annoyed that I started the video by talking about the BNP.
What are you talking about, Dankula? I know that this whole video is about...
We don't care about Count Dankula. Let me just say that. I mean, in general, once again, Count Dankula, apart from his established audience, who really cares? Oh my gosh. He, you know, haha, funny dog that did Z Heil. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But that was 15 minutes of fame. You know, now what is he? It's just like, okay, now I've got this established audience and I have a Scottish accent. Oh, yes. I can't really do a good Scottish accent right now, but it's just, who cares? Yeah, free speeches. Yeah. The beloved, yeah, freedom of speech. Yeah. Just absolute ridiculous. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm going to pretend like I don't see the chat, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit it.
your right-wing comedy, but me putting a bunch of stuff from the BNP at the start is unrelated. It has nothing to do with Dankula's comedy.
Nothing to do. Get in my belly. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wink, wink. You know, and I said it was unrelated. So what are you talking about, man? If you're going to lie, at least be good at it. This is just.
What is it with the UK? I mean, what is it? What is it with Anglos? What is it? I mean, I really, you know, and I say Anglos, and I know he's Scottish. I know that, but it's like they're all on the same island. It's just like, why can't you motherfuckers get along? I mean, it's like you think America's bad. I mean, you guys are so petty, and you guys will spurg out over something that happened 400 years ago. Well, we do too, but to a different degree. I'm just saying, it's like you motherfuckers are petty. Y'all motherfuckers are petty over there. And it's like, you know, shout out. I will give a shout out to the decent Scots out there, because I know Scotland does have a lot of inventors and everything, but it's like Dankula sounds like Shrek. Yeah. Will be the leader of the movement. It just makes me laugh. It makes me absolutely laugh. Did he get the tattoo to be edgy because he seems like a typical lib? He really is. He's just a lolbert. He really is.
Loner box lying again. Liar box. There we go.
You know,
So
it's like, I mean, you know, the thing is, I remember the one thing that I remember watching a stream from somebody. I forget who the hell it was, but he's like, "Oh, look at this! I got a bag of shekels. I got a bag of shekels from some Jews or something like that." I'm like, "Why would you?" It's like, I got me a bag of shekels. Bro, why would you tell people that? Why would you show it? It's like, it's just so. Okay, go ahead. God damn.
I have a pretty simple explanation for this. It was a joke. But in case I offended anyone, I should clarify that I'm don't
skipping
think
past
that,
half.
So,
Okay, this is gay.
Dankula's position is that anti-free speech legislation.
Okay, let's just cut. I'm not going
Okay,
to watch all this because this is just petty shit. This is basically Anglos versus the Scots, basically, or, you know, gay hipster Anglos, which is what he is. Because I mean, look at that pic. I mean, gay hipster Anglo. I obviously have, you know, I have to speak like this and try to talk in a breathy tone. And then you have the guy who has to stop, you know, show that he's Scottish and that, you know, he has a big old beard and all that. Yeah, I can't. God damn. This is literally two gay niggas fighting. This is what this is. It's two gay niggas fighting. I thought this was going to be someone interesting. This is gay. All right.
I wouldn't hold my breath and expect, nor will the
Jordan
laws around
Peterson,
stirring
don't
up
care.
hatred.
Right? We're not fucking stupid.
All right, that was gay. All right, that was gayer than what I thought it was. All right, I'm not going to make y'all watch this. This does look pretty cool, though. But I won't steal this guy's content. He's pretty good. Panzer Insight. Just to say, I know that some of my audience are more left-wing. They're like, cringe. That's okay. He's a pretty cool Dutch guy. You know, goes to museums and stuff. That's pretty cool, though. Anyway, yeah. Anglos are bad, but Ulster Scots are worse. Yeah. Southern Anglo-American, yeah. Comrade Shrek will lead us to glory. Yeah. Anglers are bad, but Ulster Scots are worse. This was gayer than the three guys, one on Hammer. Yeah. 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 You know what? It was interesting that Three Arrows response video I did that I recorded like 2 weeks ago. Apparently it got age restricted. You know, it's like maybe it was because I added some extra I added you know, the footage of the Michelin guys, the avatar, so that it'd be something interesting. But like, I can't remember. I mean, were there that many swastikas in there? I don't know. I mean, I really cut it down. I was like, because he had clips from Saving Private Ryan and from Band of Brothers, and I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna show this. It's like, so I cut it. But it's like, whatever, you know. It's just gay. I'm an Anglophile, but England isn't doing too hot right now. Yeah, exactly. Anglos are just fucking up. You know, it's once again, you know, you show my age a bit, but it's like, you know, Dave Chappelle where he's like, man, Lincoln's fucking up. Man, white people in general's fucking up. But it's like, you know, it's like Anglos in general, and I say, you know, he's one too, but it's like, it's so gay. God damn, I can't. It's like Anglos, you know, used to rule you know, the sun never set on the English Empire. And now look at you. Golly. Now you got all these, you know, you got all these folks that are just going to overtake the. I mean, who wants to live there anyway? I mean, who would want to go to the UK in any way? I mean, the taxes are ridiculous. And I'm talking about, Southern England in this case, but it's like the taxes are ridiculous. You got, all the, all the various areas with Sharia law, this and that. It's like, I mean, if you, based to a point, I would say, honestly, it's like, I'd rather have Sharia law than deal with this nonsense. But it's like, Anglos just taking the L. I mean, how long have the Anglos have taken an L? I mean, golly. I mean, it's gone on for a while. I mean, I still see people cope about, Enoch Powell. It's like, bruh, move on. It's like, I saw one of these gals, one of these Wignat gals who does, she's like, Daddy Enoch. It's like, come on, get over it. No, yeah. Oh, you got your Sharia law license? Oh, yes, sir. I've got me. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would rather have Sharia at this point. I rather would. I would rather do that. And it's just like, I would rather just do that and grow out a beard and just, inshallah. And, I can get over pork. I think I could. I mean, yeah, I've had bacon a lot in my life, but I get over it. I could see myself doing that. All right, hold on. I got something to look at. Go ahead and talk amongst yourself for a minute. Okay. Yes, mother. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm back. Yep, I'd rather have LGBT liberalism than Sharia. Yeah. It's just so ridiculous, bro. It's just so ridiculous at this point, like I say. I do want to show you this. Let me see if I can, I don't know how I can do this. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it won't. Let me see if I can try to do this. Hold on. Yellow Sharia win. Yeah. No hoes, only God, inshallah. Yeah, exactly. British military tradition is really interesting. Check out Brandon F. and Chris P. Oh, okay. Let me see here. I was gonna show you my meme. Let me see here. But basically, you know what? I will. Just as a brief last little meme here. Let me show y'all this. Let me see here if I can get it done. I'm not gonna watch Dr. Disrespect. It's kind of boring. Okay. I'm sure he's interesting enough, but let me see. RNC Convention Day 2. Yeah. RNC Day 2. I just want to let y'all hear this for a minute. You can feel as you want to about him and say he's a snot-nosed kid or whatever. That's fine. You can go ahead and do that. I'm not going to sit here and do it, but I still thought it was funny. Just like, just the way he wrote that speech. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Unmute.
Talk to your neighbors and friends.
Because
to stand up for what they believed in. But what happened was something
old Nick
very
Salmon.
different.
Why not?
Crackers will make America great hat on. You little dirty crackers, your day coming.
You dirty ass little crackers. Oh my goodness.
Klansmen. Look at that Make America Great Again hat.
Social media.
I love that though. Oh, Lee. He just stood there though. He didn't try because he was smart about it. I mean, I would probably do the same thing though. Except I'd have my arms crossed, just like, go ahead. I would do it like we're doing a free, like we're doing a MC battle or something like that. A freestyle battle. So I'm just like, I just sit back just like this, like, okay, go ahead and keep doing that. Oh my goodness. Okay.
The news and even celebrities.
It's just so ridiculous how people shit their pants over this kid just because he smirked. I mean, I still can't believe that. I mean, it's just, and you can feel as you want to about him being Catholic and all that, but it's like, it's just so ridiculous. I know I'm going to make that. Yeah. That's right, white boy. Have to blame the problems of liberalism on outsiders, basically conservative Russiagate. Yeah. It's just so, yeah. Are we ever going to get over the Catholic kid? Hopefully. I don't know. But yeah. let's go ahead and get through this here.
A campaign of persecution.
Oh yeah, that video where he's saying, "That's right, white boy." Yeah, cry, white boy. Heil Hitler. Oh, God, don't say that. Oh, why are you saying that? That's hilarious.
Completely false. Against a boy in a "Make America Great Again" hat.
The MAGA hat carries.
I saw the cope. Sorry. Sorry. But I saw the cope from people. It's like, oh, well, he may have a few teeth missing, but we'll show you why Nathan Phillips wasn't invited to either national convention. And it's like, well, it's because Nathan Phillips was used as a victim, even though, once again, it's the context. I know. I'm not going to sit here and defend this kid all the way, but it's just so gay. Once again, go ahead.
There's a certain connotation that provokes a conditioned reaction.
I blame that kid. What a little crap.
Everyone that sees that smug look wants to punch that kid.
Nicholas Sandmann received death threats, and his school was forced to close.
I remember I saw a take from, I don't care what, that the Catholic kid was misreported on. I'll support any Indian over an American. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and argue. All right.
Tonight, Nicholas tells his story.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nick Sandman, and I'm the teenager who was defamed by the media after an encounter with a group of protesters on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial last year. Before I begin, I'd like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to share some of my story and why it matters so much to this November's election. In 2019, I attended the March for Life in Washington, D.C., where I demonstrated in defense of the unborn. Later that day, I bought a Make America Great Again hat because our president, Donald Trump...
Because everyone else did. I mean, I'm trying to be fair here, but hold on. God damn it. All right. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this Feywa up. Okay.
Trump has distinguished himself as one of the most pro-life presidents in the history of our country.
Oh yeah, I was gonna finish my point. You bought it because everyone else did. We see it in the video. Everyone else bought a hat because you want to join the crowd. We get it.
And I wanted to express my support for him too. Looking back now, how could I possibly...
That dude has one heck of a jacked up jaw, doesn't he? I just realized that. I'm like, dang gum. I got a pretty big gap in my teeth, so I'm not going to say too much about that. Lord have mercy. Go ahead.
Imagine that the simple act of putting on that red hat would unleash hate from the left and make myself the target of network and cable news networks nationwide. Being from Kentucky,
I will say this. I mean, who knows how much he made? There's a lot of people who are just saying he barely got anything. Others are saying he made millions of dollars. I mean, who the hell knows at this point? But it's just like, it is what it is. The thing is, screw them. Doesn't matter who you are. Screw the media. They're not going to, unless you're one of the pre-approved people or you suck their cocks, you're never going to be respected by them. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Go ahead.
The birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, my classmates and I visited the Lincoln Memorial. I found myself face to face with Nathan Phillips and other professional protesters looking...
Oh boy, yeah, the kid may be Catholic, but he looks, Republican establishment, yeah. King Philip incest jawline, exactly. Yeah, support the Nick kid for the sake of truth. Okay. Yeah, he hasn't undercut your base. A base Catholic, though, yeah. Okay, but yeah, Habsburg jaw. Yeah, didn't this guy's mom hire a bunch of spin doctors to change the narrative? I'm not sure. Yeah, Catholics should be third position, but gay libertarianism has risen. Yeah, like I say, I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff going, that have floated around this. But I don't. Go ahead.
To turn me into the latest poster child, showing why Trump is bad. while the media portrayed me as an aggressor with a relentless smirk on my face.
There is a dichotomy, though, we have to say, is that Donald Trump, of course, has been divorced a few times. And, of course, it's like, if you're a trad-cath, how could you say, I mean, it just shows how much of an L you take. It's like, Catholics, you're not supposed to get divorced. You're not supposed to get divorced in Catholicism. You stay with that woman, and all that sort of thing. So it's just like, that's one of the things that I do hear a lot. And I do agree to a point where it's just like, how can evangelicals or whoever support Trump? It's like, this dude does not serve your values. It's just that you're just so desperate to have anybody to talk to you or they give a shit. That's the whole thing, is it? But that's how a lot of America felt. And they still feel to a point, is that they just wanted someone to hear them. And they felt so desperate that they would rather have someone like Donald Trump, who at least gave some brief little bit of lip service, even though this guy grew up in New York and lived in New York City his whole life, supported the Democratic Party for most of his life. And then suddenly, they all just like, oh, well, now he's become a Republican. Now he's conservative. No, he isn't. He's, he's barely a populist, But yeah, go ahead. Context.
In reality, the video confirms I was standing with my hands behind my back and an awkward smile on my face that hid two thoughts. One, don't do anything that might further agitate the man banging a drum in my face.
Yeah.
And two, I was trying to follow a family friend's advice. Never to do anything to embarrass your family, your school, or your community.
Yeah.
Before I knew what...
I can see, you know what? I'm going to have to sympathize with that. That's some good advice, where he knows that he's got all his guys around him, and you can feel as you want to about the rest of the Catholic kids that are around him, doing the whole ooh, ooh, ooh thing and all that business. I get that. So there is, like I say, I'm trying to put the context on it. I'm trying to. Because it became such a thing, and we analyzed, of course, hours of video and everything else. I know. And everybody had an opinion about it. I know. But yeah, like I say, take it with a grain of salt.
What was happening, it was over. One of Mr. Phillips' fellow agitators yelled out, "We got him. It's all right here on video. And we won, Grandpa."
Oh, I'm sorry, we got him. We won, Grandpa. Oh, my goodness. Oh. Oh my goodness, that makes me laugh every time. We got him, Grandpa. I think that was that Nathan, was that one of Nathan Phillips guys that said, "We got him, Grandpa"? Is that what? I don't know. Okay.
What I thought was a strange encounter quickly developed into a major news story, complete with video footage. My life changed forever in that one moment. The full war machine of the mainstream media revved up into attack mode.
Remember, I saw a take from Logo Daedalus from Twitter, and you can take it with a grain of salt because I know he's kind of a spurg, along with his friend Cantbot on Twitter. I know they have their own podcast. I don't really give a shit, but the thing is, remember him saying that it's like, this kid could be doing Twitch streams and making big money or something like that. Instead, he's doing this sort of boomer stuff. He could have been a great grifter or something. It's like, I don't know. I could see it to a point, but it's like, yeah. I mean, he's one of these big brain type dudes. Of course, I've read so much. It's just like, anyway, take it for what it is. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it, but yeah.
They did so without researching the full video of the incident, without ever investigating Mr. Phillips' motives, or without ever asking me for my side of the story. And do you know why? Because the truth was not important. Advancing their anti-Christian, anti-conservative.
Oh, please. If you're going to say, it's like, once again, you are a Catholic. All right? Donald Trump is at best, like a Protestant. The thing, once again, this is the whole thing. Once again, it's like, you're saying MAGA because he gave barely a bit of lip service to you. That's the whole reality. Once again, if you're a trad Catholic, you'd be like, you want a Catholic, period. It's like, depending on how based in trad you are and how Catholic you are, you'd be like, yeah, I don't really care because they're Protestants, period. End of story. You're just like, yeah, they're Prots. They're cringe, bro. And that's all you have to say. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
anti-Donald Trump narrative was all that mattered. And if advancing their narrative ruined the reputation and future of a teenager from Covington, Kentucky, well, so be it. That would teach him not to wear a MAGA hat. I learned what was happening to me had a name. It was called being canceled, as in annulled, as in revoked, as in made void. Canceled is what's happening to people around this country who refuse to be silenced by the far left. Many are being fired, humiliated, or even threatened.
Yeah.
And often, the media is a willing participant.
Yeah.
But I would not be canceled. I fought back hard to expose the media for what they did to me, and I won a personal victory. While much more must be done, I look forward to the day that the media returns to providing balanced, responsible.
No, that's never happened. Yeah, that's never happened. Balanced, responsible. No, that has never happened. Every media outlet has their biases. Okay, let me. I'm going to show you. It's like I got Gray Zone here. Okay, they have a left-wing bias. Okay, we get that. Antiwar.com. That's got more of a slightly right-wing bias, but it's against war. Okay, I mean, look, well, I'll just keep it there. But it's like every media outlet has their bias. CNN is neoliberal. Fox News is neoconservative, but ultimately, it's ultimately the same type of thing. They're just, OANN is more libertarian. All sorts of different. It's like Jason Unruh, of course, is a third worldist. It's just like everyone has their bias. God damn. I hate this type of thing, which is like, I want the media to be unbiased. No, you just don't want them to attack you. That's the whole thing. Just be honest. I used to feel that way too. It's like, oh, I just wish they'd just be nicer. They're not going to be. So I just say, fuck you. You hold up your middle finger and you keep on moving. And you just say, okay, let the haters talk. That's my take. Go ahead.
And accountable news coverage.
Oh, see you post.
I know President Trump hopes for that too. And I know you'll agree with me when we say that no one in this country has been a victim of unfair media coverage more than President Donald Trump. In November, I believe this country must unite around a president who calls the media out and refuses to allow them to create a narrative instead of reporting the facts.
Reporting the fact. When has the media ever done that? Reported the full facts of something? No. They do. They record. They get you all hyped up and scared about something or whatever it may be, whatever event, and then you got to find out the details later on because they don't want to do that. There are plenty of stories that'll get memory hold if you just simply say, oh, well, I'm just going to watch, CNN or something like that. That's the problem with boomers because they don't explain on a deeper level. You have to dig for these things. It's just like, it's the same thing with that Keith Love story. How many people would have known about Keith Love, turning himself in, for assault charges, this and that, unless people had looked for it? Put that into perspective. Go ahead.
We must join a president who will challenge the media to return to objective journalism. And together,
he wants to spit. He's trying not to spittle. You can tell. He's someone. You can tell that he just yeah. He's like Sylvester the cat. And he's trying not to. But yeah, go ahead.
I believe we must all embrace our First Amendment rights and not hide in fear of the media or from the tech companies or from the outrage mob either. This is worth fighting for. This is worth voting for. And this is what Donald Trump stands for. Thank you all for listening to me tonight.
Oh, boy.
And one more thing. Let's make America great again.
Gay. So, oh, my goodness. Okay. Tucker says some base things, but I still don't trust him. That's fair. That's true. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So that was, yeah. I just wanted to show that because it's like, okay, the go home was like, we got him, Grandpa. That was the, I had to see that a few times, but just hearing him say, we got him, Grandpa. I'm just like, it's a good thing I didn't make that meme then because yeah, it sounds like that's what, okay, but yeah. Okay, so we got clicked on, yeah, we got off that. Okay. Let me see what we got here. Okay, should we? I don't want to give this fool attention. I'm going to sound like Vosh here, but I don't feel like giving this tranny attention, so I'm not going to. That's just cringe. I don't really care what this tranny has to say. Oh, and look at, yeah, we got good old Vosh. Good old Vosh. Oh, boy. Good old Voshy Vosh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, I can't really. I tell you what, the only reason I listen to Vosh is because listening to opposing views does help work through my own mind, and because honestly, when you get older, I'm just gonna let y'all know for some of the Zoomers in here, and I'm gonna try to I'll probably cut it off here pretty soon. I'm not gonna. I could steal Vosh's content, but I don't feel like it. But the reason I still watch Vosh is because, yeah, what trans are we talking about? Oh, it was what is that? What it was? What's her name? You know, I'll go ahead and show you a brief thing because y'all asked me. What the hell was it? Let me see if it's still up here. It's gonna take a minute. Okay, yeah, Cyber Demon 531. I'll show you. I'll show you briefly, just for the hell of it. But yeah, it's gonna be just ridiculous. Well, hello, viewers.
Hello, users.
Yeah,
and
users.
Welcome to another episodic installation of Above It All, the show where I
So this, so she got doxxed.
talk
Apparently,
about things that I think are relevant and interesting. And so there are a lot of people hand wringing, and you know, they're very upset about Black Lives Matters rioters and looters destroying everything.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. All right.
Everything and anything in their sights. Now, again, there's no proof that any of this destruction was done by someone in the name of Black Lives Matter. There's no proof that any looting
boy.
and
So once again, we got the Antifa flag there. The ANCOM. Oh gosh, this is just yeah. Okay, yeah, Jews, yeah, and yeah, she looks like an alien. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, she used to just be a straight gamer, and then apparently she got doxxed by someone from Adam Waffen. Apparently, yeah, it's cringe. It's not even worth watching. It really isn't. It's just yeah. This is someone. It's a cheap version of it's malto meal Vosh. For those that it's like malto meal if you can't afford getting like the good stuff, in terms of like Frosted Flakes or something like that, you got to get the malto meal. That's basically malto meal Vosh. That's basically what she is, and I say she very loosely. Heavy quotes. That's like at least 3 or 4 levels of quotes. Yeah. Should have stayed a femboy. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just absolute cringe. I don't want to talk about it because, of course, it's just defending, yeah, Adam Waffen's germ for atomic weapons. Yeah, it's just gay. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about it. Y'all want to watch a brief little bit of Finnish Bolshevik? I know y'all are probably going to watch that later on, but I'll go ahead and show a clip of it. Why not? You want me to do that? I'll just go ahead and wait. Yeah, let's delete AW comments. A friend, no get banned. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Brav. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and, yeah. I'm removing my comment. Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and show a bit of this.
Welcome, everybody.
Okay, so PC USA. PC USA, I think Danky Kang is also part of PC USA, I believe. So we'll go ahead and see how this goes, shall we? All right.
To this little event, we have here a PC USA candidate running for Congress named Christopher Hilali, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about his party, his campaign, and answer your questions that you might have.
All right.
So, Chris, you can begin.
Oh, he's up in Six Hexenhammer's craw. He's up in Six Hexenhammer's territory in Vermont, huh? Okay. At large, huh? Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon and good evening to everybody, or I guess good morning, depending on which part of the world you're in. Wonderful to see so many comrades here. You did pronounce it correct, comrade. My name is Christopher Halali, and I am running as a PCUSA candidate for the at-large congressional district for Vermont. So running for the U.S. House of Representatives against the incumbent Peter Welch, who is a Democrat. This is the first time communist will be listed on the ballot in Vermont since 1984 with Gus Hall and Angela Davis when they were on the ballot for the CPUSA.
I was about to say, I think that Bernie Sanders, of course, was up there as well, and I think he called himself a socialist. But anyway, go ahead.
And of course,
Just saying
in
that
the
out
U.S.,
loud.
I think the last time communist has been on the ballot nationally was in the mid 1990s with a campaign in the Mid-Atlantic states. So,
and let's just say Angela Davis, what do y'all think? Is she, nigga got no chance, exactly. Autism spectrum is true diversity, yeah. I was going to say this, Chris Halal. I think it's, what is it? Chris Hilali, yeah. Chris Lolly, yeah. Chris Holali, yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, that's cringe. I'm sorry. I just decided to go for it. I think Caleb spoke with this guy. Is that the guy with the big beard? I think he was talking with another guy. Like maybe he was. Yeah, Bernie was in no way a socialist. At best, he's social democrat. I know, but he was part of the Socialist Party, I think, or something like that. I know that. Yeah, I know that ultimately, yeah, he is a suck dem. But I think at the time he was trying to play it up. Yeah, AMP for the win. Feds at my door. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll listen to a little bit more of this, and y'all can watch it on your own time.
And that was also
I know that some of y'all are probably
this is a really
to
exciting time and opportunity. We believe that now is a perfect moment to seize the situation and the crisis, both the crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic and the failure of the U.S. Government and the socioeconomic forces here to provide for the working class, and also the outpouring of anger at the deaths at the hands of the brutal racist police of many people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Most notably, the killing, the state-sanctioned killing of George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about my background so that the comrades have an idea of who I am. Both my parents are immigrants to the United States. My mom was born in Montreal, Canada, but grew up in Greece.
Canada, Montreal. Okay, go ahead.
And her family, my grandparents left Greece. They were all members of the Communist Party of Greece. My grandfather was a member of the United Pan-Hellenic Organization of Youth, or EPON.
And aren't the Greeks doing fairly well in terms of communism over there? I mean, I don't know. I think that the Golden Dawn, I think, is kind of retreated, but I heard that lefties are pretty strong in Greece in some areas. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead and tell me, chat. Go ahead and tell me I'm wrong. That's okay. And I'll just be like, okay, that's fine. But yeah. Okay. Finbone was based. I haven't seen this video, though. It just came out today. So yeah, it's okay. Like I said, you can go ahead and watch what you will. But yeah, let's see here. Yeah, go ahead.
Which is basically the precursor to the CNE right now, the Communist Youth League of the Communist Party of Greece, and it was the wartime organization during the occupation by the Nazis, the Italians, and the Bulgarians, who were puppet regime of Nazi Germany, as well as my grandfather's.
Oh, these are the ones. Okay, so hold on. So his parents were part, or his grandparents were part of the ones that decided to fight the British and everything else. I mean that's kind of based. I mean, ultimately, the Anglos weren't going to just let the communists take over, but they didn't have support of the people. I think in a lot of ways because they were they're pretty cringe. I think in general, but yeah. He wasn't Tito. I'll put it that way. They weren't Tito. They weren't like Tito. Yugo gang, baby. I don't know. But yeah. Go ahead.
Two brothers who were members of the Greek People's Liberation Army, or the
Going
National
down more
People's
authoritarian
Liberation
like
Army,
their own,
depending
not
on how you
corporatist
translate it.
though.
One of whom, George, or Yorgos in Greek,
traditionist
was executed in
okay.
1947 in a brutal execution of communist prisoners in a prison in Yithio, which is outside of Mani, where my family is from.
Okay, boring. Let's go ahead and skip to the chase, huh? Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and hear some more about the PCUSA's platform.
How can we, maximize that for our situation here? And of course, I recently did an interview where I said that small farms here don't make really a profit. They mostly stay just at net zero profit, or they make a little bit of profit, and we're talking only $10,000 or $20,000, which is really poverty wages if you think about it, for a family.
I'm not arguing about
that. So we talk about a socialist society being able to provide tractors, being able to provide technical assistance and equipment necessary, being able to provide full support for the farms, being able to sort of create cooperatives. And
they're gonna get rid of the kulaks, though. Come on, you got to get rid of the kulaks, bro. Come on. If you're gonna be PCUSA, you got to get the tanky vote. You got to get rid of the kulaks. There's some more richer farmers up there, I'm sure. Go ahead. I think it's dairy mostly in Vermont, but yeah, go ahead.
And collectives that can lead towards higher productivity and more labor power to come out and to be able to do a lot of this work. So I think that Marxism-Leninism can teach us a great deal, both not only theoretically but also practically in the lived experiences of the Soviet Union, of China, of many other societies, but Cuba especially, where I've been, and I've been to many of the state farms and small farming operations there, and have seen the successes of.
Cuba isn't the United States, though, bro. Let's put that into context, can we? You have to look at the material conditions, bro. Go ahead.
Organic farming practices.
I'm just trying to not steal somebody's content. I'm actually trying to make comments because I know that a lot of the Twitch streamers are busted by just having lunch and just watching these. So I'm trying to give my comments, trying to give some commentary on this, So I'm trying. Okay.
Farming practices that don't use genetically modified organisms. The use.
You're basically just seeing what I would do anyway if I wasn't streaming. This is pretty much what I'd be doing, just like, oh, okay, all right. So, yeah, it shows how sad my life is, but that's okay. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Of sustainable practices versus unsustainable practices for soil health and for the health of the environment, and this, of course, goes to bigger questions about the use of fertilizers or pesticides. So I think that overall, there's a lot of things that we can take from Marxism-Leninism, both as a theory and as a lived practice, to be able to.
So hold on. So I noticed that he said the use of pesticides and the use of fertilizer. What are you going to do? Are we going to go back? Are we going to go somewhat libertarian and be like, okay, we're going to, or like, recycle the land, or are we going to, go back just using dung and putting that on? What the hell are you talking about, man? You kind of going Anpram? What do you? I don't know. Go ahead.
To understand not only the national situation but our local situation, and how farmers would benefit from the transition to socialism, using these scientific tools available to us to unleash their potential, and also to make sure that the farms succeed here, and that they succeed in their farming endeavors and in service to the society.
McBoat, you are next. If you want, I'll unmute you. I see you have several questions, but you can ask one of them for now.
My question is, what do you think about the anti-communist propaganda in U.S. media and the brainwashing of?
Okay, let's start with this first off. I should have said this in the first place, but other than memes, there have been some funny memes and funny meme videos that I've taken from Discord. But has there been that much good that has come from Discord? Can we get let's get some comments. How much good has come from Discord? Can I be honest with you? How much? What good has come from Discord other than funny memes, because that's all I can think of. To be honest with you, I just steal memes on Discord. I don't have many conversations on Discord. In general, it's like I like Norwegian. I will suggest a pretty cozy Discord channel, the Norwegian Baron, who does the the songs. He does like the the song. He does the songs, baby. He does like the the national songs, and does like he did the hour long Russian Imperial music as well. But he that's a pretty cozy channel. Yeah, that was a pretty cozy Discord on there. It's like it's mostly normie stuff in general. It's not, some is hardcore stuff, but I think it's not too bad. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, that's just my take anyway. In general, I think that I mean Discord is just for spurgs. I mean, and of course, as Wigness be like, oh, it's Doxcord, it's Doxcord. It's only Doxcord because you guys are so spurgy, and now you have to go on Telegram. Ooh, I'm going on Telegram, bro. People have found that out. That's why no one goes on Telegram. Wherever you go, you turn it into cringe. It's the same thing with Gab. You ruin it, But yeah, go ahead. I'm not going to watch every single minute. I'm going to skip through.
American people by the Bush.
I know. Oh, anti-communism in America. What the fuck do you expect? I mean, the thing is, I don't think a Greek diaspora guy in Vermont is going to change that, okay? Can I tell you that right now? I'll be honest with you. No. Caleb Maupin has a better chance of trying to change that than people like you. I'm just going to be honest. But yeah, I'm just going to say it once again. Diasporas are cringe. If you're Greek diaspora, bruh, you're still going to be LARPing about, Thessalopolis, Poopolis or whatever, it's just, go ahead. Let's see what this says.
Immiseration of tens of millions of people in the United States.
Oh, he's still talking about goddamn.
How great that other people on the left criticize these states as well. So I think that that's important, and I think it's important to always be vigilant along the lines of critically defending. And
I have to say, I think I don't know if I've said this already, but this guy is running through a party. So he's running through the PC USA. So they're going to tell him, hey, you got to do things this way. Hey, you got to say, I've heard the same thing from Danky Kane. He has to be very careful because PC USA, he's going to say, hey, comrade, you can only say these few things, okay? So that you don't piss people off, all right? Okay. Say trans rights and all that type of thing, okay? You got to be careful. You got to say things the right way, okay, comrade? Okay. We're, socialism will win. So you have to put that into context. He's being very careful. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
at the same time, not allowing those conversations to veer into outright hatred for the system that exists. Each nation is unique. Each situation is complex. And I think as internationalists, we must first and foremost understand the situations on the ground, speak with comrades on the ground, and get more
speak with comrades. What about ordinary people? What about the proletariat? I mean, even people like Caleb Maupin, you can feel as you want to about him, but even Caleb Maupin is saying, talk to the people. And once again, this is the mistake of, we can all get, all the comrades need to get together and do it. No. You guys are all spurgs. Why don't you talk to ordinary people? Go ahead.
Clear understandings of what's going on.
Sintoras had a really good question, so I want to ask that one. Let's see. Your opinion on the Black Panther Party and the CPUSA through history. What can be learned from them? What was positive?
Telegram was the greatest thing in the world
negative?
For about 3 days. Yeah.
And what do you think is the current most pressing task for the communist movement in the U.S.?
Oh boy, big question. In 3 parts. The first thing is that the Black Panther Party, I think, had tremendous.
Stop talking about the Black Panther Party. Can you please not? Let me tell you why. Because ultimately, when you talk about the Black Panther Party, you in general, whether it's BreadTube or whether it's IRL, you always simplify it to Fred Hampton. Okay, and that's fine and dandy. I don't have anything against Fred Hampton. I don't even know that much about the guy. But he's one man, okay? Can we put that in perspective? It's one man. You don't even want to talk about Huey Newton. You don't even want to talk about him, because ultimately, the light-skinned brother doesn't want to be talked about. But it's just, the Black Panthers, you want to point to something 40 or 50 years ago. It's like, well, the Bolsheviks, you know what? The Bolsheviks was a long fucking time ago, bro. You have to put it into the context and to try to understand people now. Understand the SoundCloud rappers and understand, the kids that are, doing streams and stuff like that. Understand that sort of thing. Not freaking, the Black Panthers. I don't know. That's my take on it anyway. Modern day people cannot grasp the Black Panthers. They'll be like, okay. And then, of course, they'll say, I like the new Black Panthers. Well, no, not them, because they're reactionary. Well, what happened to them? And opens a whole can of worms. That's my take. Go ahead.
Successes and also
Hugh Newton was a drug pusher.
Failures.
Yeah, but he started the movement, though. That's the whole
in history. I think that
you can say what you will about Huey Newton, but the thing is, I see no Red Brown Alliance if comms don't shut up about LGBT rights. Yeah, how many comrades really are there, though? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like you say, you can you can feel as you want to about Huey Newton, but the thing is that he started Black Panthers. Fred Hampton didn't start no Black Panthers. Bobby Seale didn't start no Black Panthers. Huey Newton started it. You can feel as you want to about him and disagree with him because he, pushed drugs, and also you can feel bad about him. Go ahead. But the thing is, who started it? Who is the one that was, when he was pulled over, had the California regulations there? That's my take anyway. Who was the guy that started it? You have to look at things in a context. And, you can feel as you want to about Huey Newton, but he's the guy that started it. Had to put it in the so you can like Fred Hampton and everything else like that. Go ahead. But it's like, it's almost like the second position is outdated and stuck in a bygone era. Yeah. Third and fourth position all the way. Oh, okay. Like I say, I mean, that's all I'm saying. You feel free to disagree and put me in check, and you can say Huey Newton was a drug pusher, and I'm going to say, yeah, okay. Okay. Like I say, take it for what it is. Anyway. Okay. Let's hear some more about this.
So I will speak personally. I know that our party considers the Black Panther Party to have been a deviation from ML, to be very much inspired by the New Left and especially by Maoism. And so, looks critically on the Black Panther Party. I think that there are enormous successes that the Black Panther Party did,
and the food program,
from its education, the community organizing, the school lunches, all of these sort of things that they were doing at the time. And I think the failures we can look at are questions about, and I think that these are perennial questions.
I can already tell you, lumping proletariat, and letting hustlers into the movement. That's the real case. I can already tell you. Go ahead.
Questions about self-determination in the United States, which communities have self-determination, how...
he's walking on eggshells. He is walking on eggshells. Oh my goodness. He so wants to say some other stuff, but he just does not want to be racist. I can sense it. He does not want to, But that's my take, My iPad, what did I miss? Oh, not much. We're actually going through a Fin Bowl right now, Red Dundonian. So we're going. He's talking to a PC USA guy. But that's my take on it anyway. Let's go ahead and continue.
How can that be successful? What does that mean for the wider working class movement? I think it's very much complex. There's a lot there. We know, of course, that the Black Panther Party had very good and fraternal relations with both with the Communist China and with the Workers' Party of Korea. And there are, images from Black Panther periodicals and especially its magazine that have, Comrade Kim Il-sung's face there. They were interested in Juche ideology. And so I think that we can learn while at the same time being critical of some of the things that they did. And of course, you can always look at what happened afterwards to see, to get an idea of where the ideology was. So, for example, you can see where adjacent people like Angela Davis were then and are now.
Angela Davis is a revisionist because she got older. She decided to take a position and to get some money, and now she says vote Biden. Same thing with Bob Avakian to a different degree. He says vote Biden because ultimately he's a revisionist. I'm just going to tell you right now. Go ahead.
You can see where some of the leaders went to.
Okay, let's skip to the end.
And I think that this is something that I've looked at other communist parties and how they've done it, and some have done it to better degrees, in my opinion, than others. I think that one can be patriotic when looking at some of the struggles that the United States has had over its history. And of course, the CPUSA and other formations have looked positively on the American Revolution and then saw that as a way to...
Even I have to agree. The American Revolution was bourgeoisie. It was just a chance to make money for other planters and everything else. They didn't give a hoot about the rest of the people there. They basically just did it for themselves. And maybe to a point, even Wignats will say the truth, that the United States was meant for white people, as they will say. Oh, America is meant for white people. But the thing is, it was meant for WASPs and their brand of WASPs, for white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. That's what it was built on. Even I have to say, to a point. I'm going to be careful because I'm an American, this and that. You can take it for what it is. But let's just be specific here. And I understand, once again, you got to build the mass appeal. You got to bring people in. I get it. But there's a balance that you have to strike. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
To talk to Americans about a second revolution, a working class revolution. So using that as sort of, this was a bourgeois revolution, now we are moving towards the second American Revolution. That's language that has been used in the past. Of course, we remember classic photographs and images and pamphlets and speeches in the 1930s, especially 1920s and 1930s, especially of the Communist Party USA, with photographs and images and busts of Lincoln and sort of
he almost said Lenin.
Harnessing those images. Of course, as somebody who's traveled to Cuba, Abraham Lincoln's statue and bust is in, for example, the Department of Philosophy and Marxist philosophy.
Yeah, I put that into context because guess what? Supposedly, allegedly, according to Caleb Maupin, I remember hearing one of his streams, is that they have murals of Malcolm X in Iran. So I put that all in context because it's like, okay, it's just like, look, Lincoln was a bootlegger. Okay, let's just put that out there. He was someone who was selling booze. Then he became a lawyer, and apparently Marx was kind of friends with him. But like I say, it's mixed. The thing is, I try to put it into context with Lincoln as well. I think basically. He was kind of meh. You can feel as you want to. You can say based Lincoln. Go ahead. I don't care, but I have my views of him. I'm just basically meh. So what? He helped it, the thing is that he hired a gentleman by the name of Salmon Chase. Salmon Chase helped to create the greenback. And as we know, the greenback is pretty much what became the U.S. dollar and got the United States off the gold standard. Now, of course, like I say, once again, that's kind of Lolbert sort of activity. I know. I got some reactionary stuff. I can somewhat be based, and then I can go back and fall back. I'm just saying. But I take it with a grain of salt with people like Lincoln. So, go ahead.
At
Lincoln,
the University of Havana, you walk up there and boom, there's a big bust of Abraham Lincoln because he's seen as a hero.
He was never
as
get
well for
traction because it was a black
what
party,
he did. So how do you capture these sort of historic
Lincoln,
moments
killer,
and look
Indians.
at how we can reinterpret them and bring them in a longer arch of communist development and building towards communism. And so I think that can certainly that certainly has the ability to unleash patriotic forces. And of course,
I do appreciate. I will say this is that he did say patriotism. I wanted to at least say something. I like that. Of course, he's not denying the patriotism. And I know ultimately he was probably given a script to a point of what to say. But the thing is, I like the fact that they still do mention patriotism. Because, of course, nowadays, you talk with these bread tubers, it's like patriotism is the same as nationalism. And, oh, American patriots ruin that word. And it's like, okay. It's like, you can't just say, oh, well, screw patriotism. It's like, look at Vietnam. And I know people always point to Vietnam, but it's like you can point to the DPRK and how they have tried to honor Korean history. Or you could point to the Soviet Union honoring Russian history and still being orthodox or what, it's just so ridiculous, Anyway, I'm just giving my takes. I know that y'all have heard that probably a little bit more, but I'm just saying it here. You can feel as you want to about me. Like I say, I like having people argue in the comments. Because I come from the troll type of thing. It's like, I argued with folks on the CNN streams back when those were a big thing. Those illegal streams from Ukraine that would show up on YouTube. And it'd always be those same 5 people that you talk to be like, oh man, but I'm good with that. That's why I don't worry about mods or anything else. Go ahead and argue with each other, bump heads, go ahead. And you can disagree and say, you're full of shit. It's okay. I'm okay with that. I'll be like, yeah, I know I am. I'm okay with that. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. There are, of course, the correspondence with Lincoln and the International Workingmen's Association, of which Marx was, of course, a member of.
I could be wrong. Maybe it was.
They laud Lincoln for, basically not only the successes in the Civil War and the freeing of the slaves, but also that America had a historic revolution in 1776 and onwards. Now is the time for the Second American Revolution. And
1776 will commence again. I'm sorry, I had to say it. I felt it, and I was just like, 1776 will commence again. So is this Alex Jones gang? Is this what this is? Is this Alex Jones gang? Here we go. I mean, is that what that is? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Oh boy, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and we're almost there. About 7 more minutes.
I think that this is a classic. This gets into some classic things within debates about the Enlightenment, debates about historiography and how we understand history.
Yeah. Okay.
And so,
where the hell does the Enlightenment come from? Where the hell does that come from? I don't know where you got that idea from, but all right, go ahead.
These are questions where we can sort of carefully assess how we would look at the American Revolution.
I just thought about this. So you got Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, and then Ukraine. The thing is that Ukraine as itself, yes, I will admit, is Russia. I will just say it. Ukraine is Russia. You can feel that's cringe. You can say, bro, what? But Ukraine is Russia. And Ukraine, that's part of America problem. Yeah, of course. America is supplying weapons and training people. But you also have to blame Israel. Israel is also involved with that. They are, it's so interesting, of course, there are very few. I mean, most Wignats that I've seen, at least, are smart enough to be like, no, Ukraine is cringe. And it's like, I'm glad that they realize, oh, yeah, Israel is involved. Yeah, it's kind of cringe. No, screw Ukraine. Where it's like, yeah, we're going to support Russia in this case. So, but it's like, there are a few Wignats out there who do support Ukraine. I don't know why. Because it's like, yeah, apart from, oh my gosh, they have, Azov battalion. No, they're gay. And there are some literal gay dudes, that have anyway, screw Ukraine, though, really. Kolomoisky, the one who really controls Ukraine, not Zelensky. Zelensky is just a goober. He's just some just some comedian who they put in. It's just, yeah, go ahead. Look here. Alex Jones is a secret communist. That correct take. Ukraine should not exist. Dugan was right on this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish this up. We're almost done.
Understand the American Revolution. If there are positives, how we can, sort of speak about the positives of the American Revolution, and then how we can speak about the advancements within the United States, the positives, while also speaking about the negatives as well. For example, a complete genocide of indigenous peoples, manifest destiny, sort of a lot of the social Darwinism and things.
Do you support land back? That's the question that I would ask in Discord. Do you support land back then? Do you support giving parts of the land? Because I know that PSL, I think, has supported land back. And of course, I know PSL used to be Trotskyist, as far as I've heard. So I take it with a grain of salt, like I say. I mean, I only get my I get my views of the left from Jason Unruh and Caleb Maupin, probably, and maybe a little bit of reading. So I take it with a grain of salt. I tried to. But anyway. Go ahead.
Things that were very much at the crux of the development of sort of an Americanism, an American ideology in the early to mid 1800s, and then solidifying in the late 1800s in the Gilded Age of capital in the U.S.
That's fair, Union Army Ball. That's fair. I try not to talk about that country that much. You know what? Should I just call it that country instead? That country in the Middle East? I'll just do it that way. That country in the Middle East that should belong to somebody else. I don't know. Okay, let them have their reservations, but definitely, yeah. Vosh is Polish too. Yeah, he is, isn't he? He is Polish. Yeah, it's like Ian something or yeah. Okay. We'll probably turn to the Vosh stream just to see what sort of crap has come out of his mouth. Okay.
I think that being patriotic in the U.S. is always much more challenging than anywhere else in the world because it is the empire.
I am. What can I do for you?
The hegemonic force, because it is the center of finance capital at this point. If you are looking at like world systems theory and you're sort of thinking about development of capitalism in different areas of the world, I mean, now you have a continent-sized country that has all these resources separated by two oceans that basically, it has the most military bases abroad, XYZ.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking about being patriotic in that situation. It is challenging. It is very challenging.
Yeah.
I think it can be done. It has to be done in ways that would...
This is something I heard from Juche Gang. It's been a while since he posted a video, hadn't it? But I remember that he had on that Anglo guy. And they said the difference between proletarian nationalism and bourgeois nationalism. And proletarian nationalism can reach to the people instead of bourgeois nationalism, which is just purely about race or about other aspects. And to a point, I kind of straddle the line a little bit. But once again, I know that's kind of cringe, so you can just say what you will and be like, bruh, that's fine. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Move beyond the narratives of both Republicans and Democrats towards this country. I think it would very much have to be it couldn't involve God because of course there's a lot of the manifest destiny of the American exceptionalism always has a theology behind it as well.
Whoa. You have to be careful with this because I think the Sandinistas, they include a lot of Catholic aspects. A lot of the South American stuff does include, of course, this is the whole idea behind liberation theology and everything else from Brazil, I think, but yeah. So let's be careful about that. You can say, oh, no religion because it's based in all that sort of thing. It's part of it, but it can be done the right way, I think, Anyway, go ahead.
But I think it is possible. I just think it's much more challenging for us communists. And I think we always have to be very careful to guard ourselves from becoming reactionary while, taking on these sort of patriotic slogans or values, or even creating a patriotic historiography on the left of the United States. So yeah, that would be my answer. I think it's complicated. I don't have any crystal ball or solutions to this. I just think that we would have to...
Everybody says that. I know. Neither do I.
...tread very carefully in this regard.
thanks a lot for being here, answering our questions.
Okay, that's good enough. All right, we watched that. Okay, let's go ahead and... Okay, it's going to click on that just for a moment. Let's go ahead and... That is kind of base, though. It's kind of a nice little channel. Anyway, we'll skip past that.
Yes,
Okay.
in the description.
Okay. There we go. Sorry. Now let's hear this fool. Is he on? Or is it going to take a minute to get going? It's going to take a minute to get going. That's fine.
Who identified
Okay, yeah.
as a feminist started associating with people who were more right-leaning at the time. This just abjectly horrified with the direction the country is going in. Because she's a fucking soak them. But, however, it gets way funnier than the purview of this video. See, that burner account, that's our...
Why are you still talking about Sargon of Akkad? Why do you give him ammunition? It's the same thing with Ben Shapiro. Why do you give these folks so much leeway? You give these folks far more leeway than you would.
I can't show it to you
Oh shit. I don't know why it's fucking up like that. Anyway.
on stream, okay? But I'll get to that.
He's trying it hard to
this burner account.
not get announceable, get called announceable. Yeah. Rather go back to worship theology in Mexico. Yeah.
Has been a dedicated Shoe on Head fan account for
Get the fuck out of Mexico.
weeks
Okay.
now.
Remember when Shoe on Head was based? Neither do I. Yeah.
Retweeting the shit,
That's
arguing
true.
with her, like back and forth,
That's
back
true.
and forth. And he's really, really engaged in this. And
Okay. I hate this. Okay. It's taking its sweet ass time.
beer with time. And just a couple of days
Okay, it's really
ago,
fucking
and
up.
this is the big explosive finale, okay? Just a couple of days ago, Shoe on Head and Sargon were arguing, and Sargon was essentially saying, "You're going to communism," and Shoe was just saying,
Two
like,
gay
"We don't
niggas
care,"
fighting.
you know, like,
Once again, there's
that
two
kind
gay
of shit.
niggas fighting. We
And,
don't care. We don't
really
care about
embarrassing.
either one.
So, of course, hilarious. And Sargon
Ugh, this
got
is-
really, really mad.
We don't care.
Actually, really mad.
I don't care.
And now I want to say this, okay? There is an undeniable contingent of right-leaning people who legitimately think that I am fucking Shoe on Head into being more left-leaning. What's
I
the
don't
meme,
care.
Like, Commie cum is rotting her brain.
I
There was
don't care.
One particularly crazy guy who threatened to back
Okay, this is gay. I don't really care. Okay, yeah. This is gay. All right. Okay, I think I've said my piece for that stream. This is absolutely gay. Sometimes I'll listen to Vosh just because I want to hear the hot take so I can steal it for my own for my own benefit. But honestly, that stream is not worth it. It honestly isn't. I don't care about Shoe on Head. I don't care about Sargon of Akkad. These are folks that were. I mean, what is this? Is this 2015? Is this 2015? Did I smack myself in the head? Am I still working at Express Employment? You know, is it did we flash back to 2015? Why do we care about these people? Why do you give what? This is one of the biggest problems that I have with the online left. Why do you care about what Ben Shapiro says? Why do you care what Shoe on Head says? Why do you care what Sargon of Akkad says? Why do you care? No one cares about these people. So what? They have all these viewers. I don't care. Most of them are boomers. Most of them are just losers. I don't care about them. It's the same thing with Stefan Molyneux. Why do you care about him? Okay, he's a cringe Lolbert who may have said some okay things, but ultimately he was this cringe loser. Who cares? No one should care about those people. You know, okay. I think that's the stream that's the bit I'm going to end on there. There was going to be something. I don't think there's anything else really. Anyway, so we kind of went over some extra stuff that you wouldn't normally have seen in other streams. So I hope y'all enjoyed all that. I didn't get red pilled by people refuting conservatism. I got red pilled by people explaining communism and fascism. Yeah, exactly. I didn't. Once again, the whole alt-right pipeline. It's like, I'll be honest with you. I watched maybe a little bit of Bearing and like I watched maybe a little bit of Molyneux in terms of like just the Truth of series. That's basically all I watched, because at that time I still watched the BTFOs of him, like, you know, $1, you can only give me $1, and it's like, okay, I was like, oh, okay, this guy's a shill, okay. And it's like, so I saw, other than that, that's all I really gave a shit about. But it's like, other than that, I can't think of any other anti-SJW I really listened to that really led me over. I didn't listen to Ben Shapiro. I didn't really care. When I heard him, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he's cringe. Okay, whatever, basically. But yeah, I think I've said my piece there. We went for a good long time. I just said, I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. Eventually, I try to get a schedule going, and we'll try to have a set time and everything else like that. But this is pretty fun, I thought. So I think we'll keep it there. Like I said, I got a little bit of time. I can go work out or something like that before I go back to class, get some other work done. Follow me up with this pyramid and lay down that table over there, please. Aztecs Brigade, their subjects in Spanish, nothing wrong. Yeah, okay. I think I've said my piece, though. Is there anything else y'all want me to talk about? You know, No More Libs, Ren Dundonian, Wilma DeMarco, Gitler Goldpot. We had Weebaboo earlier. I was a battalion. It's just the Ukrainian equivalent of the American neo-Nazi movement, aka really faking gay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I've said my piece on that. Said my piece on that. Said my piece. I think I've said my piece. Let's go ahead and let's see if I can get this right. Eventually, one of these days, I'm going to get this right, where I can just do the other thing there, the thing and the thing. Yeah, Dave from Community Forever was the only anti-SJW I really listened to. Yeah, I listened to a little bit of that, but yeah, kind of boring. Oh yeah, Six Hexenhammer for a little bit. All right, everyone, you know, let's talk about paganism and how based it is. Yeah, you know, well, I have my shirt off and everything else like that. You know. It's so funny to me. I'm just like, I used to try to give a shit about what Six Hexenhammer said, and I just realized what a loser. You know, like how many times was that loser crammed in his locker by some bully? You know, sorry. Oh, but yeah. Anyway, it's like, all right, everyone. You know, I got my skinny stuff on. You know. Oh boy. Okay, I've said my piece. Let's go ahead and finish this up here. Let's play this outro and let's see if I can get this together. Okay, here we go. Have a good one, folks. Goodbye. Oop, there we go. Oh, shit. I always underestimate how short that is. I got to link in there or something. Anyway, see you later. Goodbye.